secrets about this his work, and especially we're going to talk about Ormus's. How long ago you started dealing with that?
Oh, it's been over 10 years, probably maybe closer to 13, 14 years ago. And I was making the regular kinds of Ormus that are readily available on the internet and that sort of thing. And I don't know, would you like a little history of how I came to came to be involved in some Ormus that is created a little differently and has some different qualities because of its unique way that it's formed.
Uh-huh.
Well,
how you learned to do that? Who
well,
teach you?
Actually, I would like to take credit for being able to form the Ormus, but actually I was doing some processes because I have a number of energetic products that I'm involved with and that I make and do a lot of experimenting, and I'm very interested in different energies and how we can put them into materials and how those materials can affect your awareness and your ability to see your affect your codons, which process basically are processors, or some people call them search engines for your DNA.
Uh-huh.
So if you get more codonal activation, then you have more DNA, and that DNA actually creates paranormal access. Paranormal is about, it's not my favorite word, but access to higher dimensions, higher types of experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I was working on some applications, and I have a lab, and in that lab, this substance started appearing. I was already making, I guess what you could call quote unquote normal Ormus, and this substance starts appearing. Now I knew the processes I was using, but this volunteered. It came through. It was a water type of an Ormus, and but it solidified, and I tasted it. I looked at it for maybe 4 or 5 days. I thought, this looks an awful lot like Ormus, but it took me 4 or 5 days for my curiosity to overcome me. So I took some, and what very powerful Ormus does, one of the things that Ormus does, Ormus actually does a lot of things, but one of the things that it does is it synchronizes the right and left hemispheres of the brain. And when that happens, it's kind of like if you've ever smoked a cigarette, it feels like, particularly if you remember when you first started smoking or you've ever had a smoke, you just feel that ease. And that's sort of the way it feels. It's like that ease. And I knew that was Ormus. But I tell people that I don't know whether the Ormus, I don't know whether I made the Ormus. I don't know if the Ormus is part of my process or the Ormus is actually I don't know if I'm making the Ormus or working the Ormus or the Ormus is working me. And I'm pretty sure the Ormus is working me because it appeared. I've gotten a lot of inspiration, a lot of information just outside of myself. I'm not going to tell you anything like Tesla, but Tesla would get these kinds of things where information just came into his head. Yeah, just came into his head. And this has happened to me with the Ormus. I just hear a little kind of something, well, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? And I would end up, after a while, I'm as stubborn as the next person, but so after a while I'd try it, and lo and behold, it would enhance the Ormus, and it would take the Ormus to give the Ormus more enhanced qualities.
Many people talk about this new futures or new options to escape from this reality and going to the other realities. And there's a lot of information in internet for making Ormuses, but do you think that everybody can do that?
Well, they wouldn't be able to do it unless they knew the process. But yes, anybody can make, there's a number of ormuses that you can make, probably a dozen different ormuses. You've got water ormuses, you've got different ways to make water ormuses. You've got dolomite, you've got a lot of different mineral bases. Yeah, so there's a lot of ways people can make ormus. And if they're making it themselves, one of the nice things is they're getting it undiluted. So if you get an ormus from an internet source, you buy it, the ormus can be diluted up to 1,000 times. So you may have to pay a little bit of money and imbibe a lot of ormus to get, but if you're making it yourself, the advantage to that is you're really getting the full strength of whatever it is that you're producing.
Friend of me from Bulgaria, engineer, he said when I start talking about you to him, he said, "Do you know, just few people on this planet they know how to do that."
Yeah.
And I believe that your friend, you George, you're one of this.
Well, I wish I could take credit for it, but it appeared. Now I knew how it came about because of the processes I was using, but it appeared on its own. I didn't start out to make ormus, it just showed up, and it's been kind of working me ever since. And now we've really taken ormus to the point where we're getting a lot of penetration into the energetic realms with it.
I have some experience from one of your ormuses.
Yes.
This is a crystals with taste of salt, but
Right.
is much more powerful like taste.
Right.
And I already took one of the small boxes you gave me. And since when I started taking these crystals,
Right.
very strange, interesting things start happening around me. You know
Yes,
about this.
yes, I do.
My experiences.
Yes.
And this is cool. At the same time, I feel good because I knew that some parts of the invisible world start opening for me, and I can see much better, or to understand much better than before. Now we have here in the table several stuff from you. Can you tell us about this stuff you're doing? It what are they?
Well, these three objects are orgonite, and orgonite is basically you stack different materials and then you put them under a resin. The resin contracts and then will give you a piezoelectric effect.
Yeah.
Okay, the orgonite basically is you put materials together in a certain format under resin. The resin hardens and it contracts and puts pressure. So one of the things you have, if you have any crystals, it's going to create piezoelectricity. Also in mine, I have different metals that go together and they create an electrolysis, an electrolytic kind of an action. In addition to those, we're doing stacking in the orgonite after the manner that was kind of reinvented, rediscovered by Wilhelm Reich, and also worked on by Patrick Flanagan, and also worked on by, and also had similar to some of the stuff, Rife stuff. But so these create energy fields, which can actually be seen with Kirlian photography. So you can take photographs and you can see the aura of the energies coming off of these individuals. Now, with mine, I have some very exotic materials in it. A lot of the materials that I've been able to acquire aren't available publicly. So the more exotic materials that can be put into it, the more power it's going to be able to generate. And it really is a community of energies. If you're familiar with a lot of folks out there, really have a lot of experience with crystals and those kinds of things, and so there's some very interesting energies that we're doing. And the more exotic materials I'm acquiring, then the more exotic connections can be made to higher energies, whether we're talking about, and the more connection is possible with dimensional connection and those kinds of things, which is a deep subject. And I do have one little piece of Ormus here that was forged on the Blind Frog Ranch, and it has some very interesting qualities.
So all of these four objects, they have different meaning or different, they acting differently? They
are acting differently. These two would be similar because they have similar materials. This one has a number of, we call it exotic materials, and then this one was forged under a very powerful vortex. So its vibrational ability, and plus it had an additional process that it went through. Each time the Ormus is processed, if you know what the processes are and how to work them, it becomes more powerful.
How people can use that? For what kind of reason they can use it?
The energy from it is really has a very broad range of purposes. It affects the human body. There's a lot of ways it affects the human body. It can heighten the senses so that your powers of perception increase dramatically. And it can give you, through the energies, the exotic energies that it's emitting, actually can give you access into or help you access different realms. A lot of this, of course, it's working with you and your own energies. And the Ormus was used anciently by the Egyptians. It's called mufket, and it was used by basically the whole Middle East area used Ormus. It was called Shemsmana in Mesopotamia, and it was used as a health, for health, but also enhancing one's capabilities. So the elite ruling classes of these would take this to increase their connections to energies and powers, intelligence, Akashic record. There's really a whole buffet of kind of types of things that become much more accessible with Ormus.
Okay, so you making all this stuff. If somebody would like to order or to buy from you, how they can find you?
Well, right now I'm working primarily just in R&D and with companies, but if they would like to talk to me and I'm available, that would be probably the best way would just be to text me or call me. And my phone number is area code 949-690-2171. And I'd be happy to chat with them. Anyone who has who has done a lot of research into exotic energies, exotic materials, I'd love to chat with them, and I think we could do some very interesting comparing of notes.
Yeah. If somebody from Europe would like to contact with you, how they can do it?
Well, at this point, they probably just have to do it through that phone number. Would be the
maybe
be the best
email
way.
or
The email, my email address is wantedresults, small caps, @gmail. So that's one way. I really check my texting and my phone.
basically the phone.
Yeah, better than I do the email.
emails.
But yeah. But yeah, I would, I'd be happy at this point. I could probably entertain most of the inquiries, and you don't get me once, try again. I'd be happy to.
Or eventually, if the public, because not only Bulgarians will watch that,
Right.
but the whole world.
Yeah. Well,
if they have any questions or concerns or anything, maybe they can leave the questions, and next time when we meet,
yeah.
you eventually can answer of that
Sure.
questions.
I'd love to look forward to doing another interview
Yeah.
and answering more questions. And
Thank you very much to have you in
most
here
welcome.
for this Lodge of Bulgaria. And have a great day.